Hi everyone, Ryan here from Fight Game Analysis, and today we're going to be talking about the sparring footage from Errol Spence. Before we jump into that, if you've been enjoying the content, please go ahead and click on the like button and also subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate your support. Alright, so just recently, in preparation in the lead up to this huge fight between Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao, we saw some sparring footage that was leaked online. I say leaked, I use that term loosely, that's the way the video was described, that was the title of it. It got pulled down pretty quick. Got put out there and got pulled down. There's been a lot of talk about it. The sport and the industry, Keith Thurman, I believe Tim Bradley commented on it. There's been a few people out there who have been talking about this footage. And I understand why. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it. A lot of people have already, they copied it, they put it up there. So it's, even though it got pulled down initially, you can still go out there and view it now. And if you've seen it, it's pretty clear that Errol Spence didn't look that good. You know, he was in there with some sparring partners and he was getting caught with a lot of shots. He got caught going to the body. He didn't handle the angles well. Looked like he was following a lot. He was getting a guard split with straight left hands. He was getting hit with jabs and right hands. He was getting turned around. He wasn't getting his punches off. Looked like his timing was off. He was trying to counter. Looked like he was behind a half step at moments. All in all, it just didn't look good. And it's got a lot of people talking. I mean, if that's what was happening in sparring, if that's what sparring partners are able to do, I mean, come on. We know what Manny Pacquiao brings to the table, right? 8-division champion. Just absolutely tearing through the ranks. A man whose name is in the discussion as one of the greats of the sport. Definitely one of the greats of his era. Now you think about all this and you think, wow, man, there's a lot of people who are putting Errol Spence as the favorite. So what does this mean? Well, allow me just to come out and say, it doesn't mean all that much. I mean, I hate to say it that way. You know, there's a lot of hype behind it. There's a lot of drama that people want to start behind it. There's a lot of ways that people want to read into it. But the fact of the matter is this. Number one, we don't know when that sparring footage came from. Was it a week ago? Was it 2 weeks ago? Was it 6 weeks ago? Was it 10 weeks ago? We don't know when that footage came from. So one of the things that we can speculate is that the reason Manny Pacquiao took this fight is because after Errol Spence got in that car accident, he came back in his fight against Danny Garcia and he didn't look the same. All of us saw it. He didn't quite look the same. Didn't quite look like the Errol Spence that we knew from the past. Now, true, he went out there and got him the win against a man as good as Danny Garcia. But we're still saying that he didn't look quite as good as he did. So maybe Manny Pacquiao and his team see that. That's why they take the fight now. They figure it's a great time to get a name like Errol Spence on your resume, especially when he isn't looking at his best. So now all of a sudden we see this sparring footage. We think, wow, this is more the same. This is more of the story that we've already been hearing, that we've been seeing, that he isn't looking all that good. But we don't know when this sparring footage came from. That's number one. Was this one of the first times he was sparring after not having camp, getting in super rusty? Was he overweight? What did he do earlier that day? Was he weightlifting? Was he doing like explosive strength and conditioning and then he came in to get some work? We don't really... Had he already been sparring for 10 rounds? And this was like the 5th sparring partner because they're all just stepping in for like 2-3 rounds at a time. And this guy's super fresh and he's coming in there and that's how he's able to get these shots off on her. We don't know the answer to any of these questions. And let me also say this. If we knew everything that happened in training camps, it'd be insane. There's a lot of guys that get caught with real big shots while they're sparring, getting ready for fights. When you're in there, you're going hard. It just happens, right? Especially early on, before you really get your timing and your rhythm. One of the things about professional fights is that you want to peak on fight day. So you're 2 weeks out from the fight, right? Day 12, day 13, day 14, day 15, out from the fight, kind of that bracket. You're doing some good, hard sparring. Obviously, you're making sure you're taking all the precautions. You don't want to get cut or anything like that, potentially delay the fight. But that's when you really want things to come together and really gel. You want all your timing. You want to be at peak speed, peak cardio, peak fitness, just timing through the roof. You want all of that to peak at that point. You can't hold that extremely fine knife edge of elite performance for 8 weeks, for 10 weeks, for 12 weeks. So you can't be at your absolute best 10, 12 weeks out from fight day. You'll never be able to hold that. You'll overtrain, you'll step down from that very peak. You'll come in on the night of the fight not at your absolute best. So yes, it's true. I mean, we saw the footage. These things happen, right? He was out there. He was getting caught. But I think it's easy to read too much into that. There's only one thing that matters, and that's what happens the night of the fight. when Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao step in there on the actual fight night, that's what counts. Not anything that happened in camp before that. Not as good as Manny Pacquiao's look, not as good as Spence looked, not as bad as either one of them look. It isn't their best day or their worst day. That's the only day that matters. And let me tell you, I can't wait for fight night.